Hi everyone, Anton here from the Transcrobes project. For more information about the project, please check the links down in the description below. In this video, I want to do a whirlwind tour of the main platform modules that are available on the Transcrobes platform today. If you want to learn more about the theoretical side of Transcrobes and how these tools enable learners to do things they've never been able to do before, please also check the links in the description below. The Transcrobes project is based on the idea that humans best learn language by interacting with real language meant for real people. However, as many people start learning second languages well after they have learnt many useful skills in their first language, like reading and other study skills, we can make learning a second language much quicker and more fun by leveraging those skills. Transcrobes already has content modules for the web, for ebooks, and for subtitled video, including any movies or TV series the learner can obtain. On the structured learning side, the system allows importing various kinds of files, analyzing those files, and then creating lists. These lists can then be used to define learner goals, vocabulary lists for active learning in the vocabulary revision tool, and more. The system also has a vocabulary explorer that allows learners to discover various aspects of words, like their definitions, frequency, how the components of the word are written, or any special lists they belong to, like common exams, and more. The Explorer also allows learners to understand their own exposure to vocabulary, like how many times they've seen the word, how many times they've studied it, and how many times they've seen it since they last looked it up, and so on. All these tools come together to allow the learner to first and foremost interact with authentic language material meant for real people. The tools then allow learners to achieve their goals by identifying what is important to them and then focusing on that in a precise way with tools relying on the latest learning techniques. Let us now have a quick look at how these modules work.
As a late beginner, early intermediate learner of Mandarin Chinese myself, I'll use myself as an example. I like technology. Basically, I'm a nerd. Very little language learning material is available for people like me. There are lots of sites in Chinese though, and here is one of my favorites. Unfortunately, this is far too difficult for me to understand without help. The accepted vocabulary coverage for comprehension of most texts is somewhere above 95%. So what are the options? Translating the whole thing with Google Translate is not going to help me learn Chinese very much. And only having a translation when I hover over or click on a word means that I'll need to spend far too much time and effort to get much enjoyment. And so I won't want to do it for very long. So what if the system did a context-based gloss of just the words I don't know? Exactly like you get in many language learning textbooks. This means that basically the entire web of Chinese content is now turned into a textbook with exactly the words I don't know glossed. Because we've performed in-depth analysis of the text, there's lots of other useful information we can also present to the learner, with the goal of maximizing understanding in the minimum amount of time. So how does the system know what I know? Well, I can either tell it directly as I'm reading, by clicking on the word and then rating my knowledge of the word, or I can tell it via an interface optimized for mass input of vocabulary knowledge. This interface has several optimizations for very quickly going over many hundreds of characters in a short amount of time. So in around an hour to an hour and a half, most learners could do well over 1,000 words. For example, you can very easily tell the system to default to knowing a word, like you need to for the most common words when you start. And then when you start knowing less than half the words, you can switch to make it default to not knowing the word. After an hour or so, learners can probably just continue entering as they read. In order to properly learn a language, the average learner will probably spend several hundred hours reading. So spending an hour or so is not a big commitment in the overall learning journey. It also acts as a great vocab review tool. Transcrobes also has an advanced import system that allows learners to import both content and other information like word lists. The system allows you to do some quite advanced stuff, but for now just know that another way to tell the system what vocabulary you already know is by importing a list, which you then tell the system are words that you already know. That way you don't lose any of that hard work you've already invested on another platform. Now while the web is great, many people prefer books. And if you can choose from any book you want, rather than from a very limited set, any learner can probably find something they are interested in. I like science fiction novels, so Liu Cixin's Three-Body Problem is a great choice for me. Here I have basically exactly the same kind of experience as with the web, but for a novel. The system provides exactly the same context-based help, and I can interact with the vocabulary in just the same way. Now again, not everyone is a huge fan of reading novels or the web. Some people much prefer the video format. Video, particularly with subtitles, also has a long history of use in language learning. Again, I am a sci-fi fan, so I gravitate to that, and The Wandering Earth is a great recent Chinese sci-fi blockbuster. So here we have the built-in video interface. One of the things about watching video in a foreign language, particularly when you're not an advanced learner, is that you often need to be able to slow down a little, or you will miss too much to actually enjoy the thing you are watching. So here we can slow down in increments of 5%. Allowing the learner total control gives the highest chance they will find the exact level that is right for them.
是木星上的一个大风暴。
风暴又是什么啊？
木星就像一个大气球，90%。
Now, depending on the screen, you may want to increase or decrease the size of the subtitles. And you obviously get the normal things like delaying the subtitle or increasing the sound volume. Another thing that a language learner benefits from is being able to instantly go back to a set of subtitles. So by simply clicking or tapping on the left side of the screen, you can instantly go back and get something repeated. That way, you can understand with an absolute minimum of disruption. So most of these features are available in other players or platforms. But what is only available in one other platform I am aware of is the ability to do exactly the same thing with vocabulary that you can in the other interfaces. That means you can click to get a more complete definition, you can get a translation for the entire phrase, and you can add it to your learning words or tell the system you already know it. Again, by having exactly the same interface, you are giving the learner the tools to be masters of their own learning. So now I'd like to very quickly introduce some of the active and meta-learning features of the platform. What I didn't talk about yet was how the content gets into the system. For both the ebooks and movies, you currently need to be able to find these on your own. In different parts of the world, there are different restrictions on what material you can get access to, but I hope very shortly to be able to integrate streaming sites like Netflix or online book retailers. For the moment, you can import any ebook in the EPUB format or any subtitle file. So when you import these, the system does a lot of analysis and processing, and also allows you to create lists of vocabulary from the content. So you can import a plain list of words, or you can create lists in the system from content. The system includes a vocabulary learning tool, like you get in many online or smartphone apps like Duolingo, Anki, or Memrise. The advantage of my platform is that it is you who decides what you want to learn and when. As I said, the best vocabulary for me to learn before reading a chapter of a book is the most common new vocabulary in that chapter. So with my system, you can easily create a list that corresponds to that and go and spend some time learning before you read. Or not. If you just want to read or watch the movie without doing any active learning beforehand or after, that's okay too. As a learner who has the tools at your disposal, you are the one that knows whether you want to do that now, later, or not at all.
首
So
页
the interface has a few nice features, like being able to animate the stroke order, and it's also possible to practice character writing. To finish up, let's take a quick look at the Vocabulary Explorer tool. So here if we say, take the word show, we can see the different aspects of vocabulary items that the Vocabulary Explorer Notrobes gives us. To begin with, we have the stroke order and sound, like we do in the Repeatrobes revision tool. We also have information about when we last revised the different aspects of the vocabulary item, the graph, the sound and meaning aspects. Along with the date, the system thinks I should revise it in order to not forget. Today's the 4th of May, so you can see I haven't been keeping up with my revisions. The card actions allow us to update the system's data about our knowledge of the word, meaning we can tell the system we don't know the word, which will mean the system starts glossing the word again if it isn't now, or that we definitely know the word, so the system will not bother us with the word in active learning activities. Giving the learner the control to manage their own learning if they want to is a crucial aspect of how Transcrobes works. Moving on, we have any lists that the vocab belongs to, and some extra things about it like the HSK level, if it has one, and the frequency according to the University of Ghent subtelex Chinese frequency distribution. Following that, we have definitions from the available dictionaries with a section of related words. The related words are often synonyms but can also be other relations, such as we find here with shou as a quantifier. Finally, we have the personal word stats. Here we can see that the system has shown me the word 26 times and that I've just recently checked the word. The next phase of development for the project is going to significantly expand the intelligence of the tools by looking at learner actions and offering learners a predictive mode for the comprehension aids and active learning modules. So that was all I wanted to present in this introductory video. There are many more modules and features planned for the near future, so keep checking back on the project website and the YouTube channel to make sure you get the latest news about those when they arrive.
If you have any questions or comments about the platform, then please get in touch. There's still a lot to do, including adding more content modules and significantly beefing up the active and meta-learning tools available. So if anyone is interested in contributing, then please also drop me a line. Thanks, and see you again soon.